welcome to another edition of the Deals for Dentists podcast. And today we are joined by Brad James, and he's zooming in from Philadelphia. And he is the Director of Partner Development for Kleer. Well, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Eric.
So Brad works for Kleer. Kleer is an advanced cloud-based platform that enables you to easily design and manage your own membership plan. With Kleer, your patients pay a monthly or annual subscription directly to you, not a third-party insurer or discount plan, in return for preventative care and discounts off all other treatments. And you can go to Deals for Dentists and you can find their promo offer, which is get 10% off membership subscription fees for the Kleer membership plan. So Brad, thanks for joining us, and let's find out all about Kleer and what you guys do and how you help dentists.
Yeah, for sure. So I think you provide a great introduction on what we do. I mean, we provide the software and services to allow dentists to have successful membership plan implementations and administration. And I know membership plans have been gaining a lot of traction in the last few years. It's not anything new in particular that we're bringing to the market. There have been some early adopters. We've talked to some dentists that started their own in-house membership plans decades or 2 decades ago. So what we're looking to do at Kleer, with those software and services, is we're looking to improve the whole process and streamline it for dental practices to allow them to scale it. So just to home in on it one more time, it's essentially a doctor or the office manager is designing these alternative dental benefits that they can offer directly to their uninsured patients. And as a part of that perk, all their hygiene care is included, so their preventive and diagnostic care. And then that patient will receive a discount on other procedures that are outside of their hygiene. And then if the dentist wants to get a little creative with what's included in the membership plan, they can have special inclusions like family discounts, or if they want to include participating specialists, they can do that as well. And for the patient side, they're going to be paying this. They commit for a year, but they can either pay a monthly or annual subscription. And the big picture here is to link patient directly to that dentist. I think you see traditionally patients are a bit more loyal to their PPO network as opposed to the dentist. So we're kind of looking to flip that on its head and really help build that relationship and connect that relationship between dentist and patient with the membership plan.
Yeah, so we started our in-house membership plan about 5 years ago, and we keep it pretty simple. It's like $419, and the patient gets their cleanings, exams, x-rays included, and anything else after that, any other treatment is 15% off. So that's personally how we do it. And then we added like a friends and family plan for like staff, family members or friends, or which has a bigger discount. But it was a lot of work for me to implement this. It was a lot of time and effort and getting the staff on board. So you're essentially kind of doing all that work for the office, and you're getting it implemented and getting it all set up behind the scenes for the office. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we're looking to automate as many processes as possible. So it's really interesting. Like you said, it's not only tough getting the team on board, but just being able to roll out these plans effectively and manage them and stay on top of payment processing and who's on the plan and when they're renewing. We're looking at any of that. We're looking to remove and take that off the front office team's hands so that they can allocate their time and tasks towards maybe some matters that the doctor would like them to focus a bit on. So more like patient relationship building, or maybe they have to deal with insurance companies, wherever they can use their time elsewhere. Our platform's looking to automate as many processes as possible. And then we also have our customer success team, where if your practice ever needed any support, or if they just want to know some best tips and tricks, they can always turn to our support team and our customer success team to make sure that they have the best materials and advice to make sure that they are successful in rolling out these plans.
Yeah, I think that's really important because the membership plan I had wanted to do for a long time because I had patients that were retiring or they came in without any insurance or they were asking for discounts. And I just wanted to have something to offer them. Um, and, I implemented it and I created the brochures and everything, but I didn't really get the staff on board as much as I should have in the beginning. So I think the fact that you're doing that and you're really helping the staff get on the same page with what's involved with the membership plan and be able to answer any questions that a patient may have. Do you go through all that with staff members to get everyone on board?
We do. So we have a full onboarding process where we not only help them, I guess, identify, optimize pricing. So we actually figure out what is optimal pricing from a profitability standpoint, but also figuring out what's going to attract patients. So we kind of marry up that profitability and affordability. And then we additionally help them design the plans, roll it out, train the team. And yeah, I think your point is spot on, because I would say the number one indicator that we probably look at internally is how engaged the front office team is, because even though someone like yourself is ultimately the one who signs on the dotted line and might be the decision maker, it's really important to have the team at least be knowledgeable and well versed with the membership plan, because that's where, if a practice is really having the membership plan as a keystone in their business foundation for their dental practice, you really need everyone to be bought in and really want to get and convert patients onto these membership plans.
Yeah, the last thing you want is, someone calling and asking questions to the staff and they don't have the answers. And that happened with me initially. I think I'm pretty sure our plan does not include like nitrous oxide or bleaching. Those are not included. Like 1.1% toothpaste, certain things like that are not included. But I'd have staff members say the words "I don't know" on the phone when a patient was asking them questions. Let me get back to you, and then they'd come back and ask me, and I'd have to explain that yes, scaling and root planning is included in the 15% off, but it doesn't look good, to the patient when a staff member is saying I don't know. So I think that's great that you're doing all that training to get everyone on board, because ultimately you want to convert that patient from the phone and become a member, a member of the plan, and get them in the office. So I think that's very important. The fact that you're, training the staff. Also, if you're doing it monthly, that's like a whole different animal. We do it yearly, so it's one time. Patient pays a year. It's $419. They pay for they start in November and then it ends in November. But if we were to break it down monthly, I think we would definitely have to hire a professional platform like yours, because that's a whole different ball game and it just gets so complicated for the staff. So if you feel like you want to do a membership plan, but you don't want to get involved with all the behind the scenes, that's where a platform like Kleer comes into play to help you out with all that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm looking at a breakdown with our patients, I think it's somewhere around 60-40. So I think the exact number is around like 62 of all of the patients that are on Kleer pay on an annual basis. And then that means that 38% of the remaining patient population pays monthly. So if you're just kind of looking at a 60-40 split and you're only offering an annual subscription fee to your patient base, that's gonna be a deterrent for those, especially more like millennial or younger patients, or it could be older patients who are just getting used to the whole monthly subscription lifestyle. And especially if they're living more of a paycheck to paycheck type of lifestyle. So that's what we typically recommend. I mean, not all of our customers do offer annual and monthly, but it's definitely recommended if you're looking to optimize how many patients are really joining. If you're really looking to optimize your membership plan and maximize how many patients are going to enroll, you definitely do want to offer both.
Now, is this customizable for each office? I can set my own fee. Will you help me with that in setting the fee to figuring out our margins and profitability?
Yes. Yes. So it is fully customizable. Even if a practice has, say, multiple locations, we even have what we call a group practice portal, where it can even be tougher for a practice that have multiple locations to have unique membership plans. And I don't mean to go off topic, but essentially, yes, you are able to fully personalize these care plans, and we give the practices feedback on what pricing is going to be best and most profitable.
Okay. Now, do a lot of offices, when they do offer both the yearly and monthly, will they make the monthly a little bit more than the yearly, or do they just make it the same and break it out into 12 equal payments?
A great question. We see that we typically, well, we actually recommend and we only roll out the option where it's the same as an annual payment. So if a patient's paying an annual fee, they're not saving any money by doing that. That's just kind of the way we roll it out, and I think it's probably the way that both sides are happiest, monthly and annual pay, subscribers to your practice. So that's typically what we roll out.
Now, do most of your dentists, do they call this a membership plan? Because you can't call it insurance.
No.
Either like a membership plan or a discount plan or a loyalty plan.
Yeah, there's all types of terms for it, and it's honestly the practices we don't control anything really. I mean, we help out with the automation and the payment processing, all that good stuff, but when it comes to I guess the patient facing aspect of it, I mean, they design the treatment protocol, what the plan's called. So yeah, we see practices calling it their membership plan, their VIP plan, loyalty program, whatever. It really goes all over the place. Some practices even get really creative with it. Like I had one example slip my mind just now, but some people get really funny and punny with it. So they can design whatever name they'd like to call it.
And now, do you only work with dental offices, or do you work with other health professions?
We only work within dental. So we do traditionally only work, like we can only directly sell to GPs, pedo, and perio, just because those are the types of dentists that have hygiene care and have this recurring patient relationship where patients need to get their cleanings. There are specialists out there who are starting to practice more of the more general dentistry. So like we're seeing some prosto and endo that are starting to do hygiene care. So we can also work with them. But the biggest denominator is that these practices need to have hygiene care. And those are the types of dental practices that we work with. So like if you're ortho or oral surgeon or oral surgery, we can't sell our platform directly to you. However, they can get a network, or like not a network, but they can work with a Kleer dentist if they want to be a referring specialist on their membership plan. So, so to answer your question, yes, we do only work within dental, and we do work with majority of offices, just not those very unique specialists.
Now, with Kleer, can I create multiple programs? Like, for example, my office, we have our standard membership plan for patients, and then we also have our friends and family membership plan, and we put it right into Dentrix as almost like it's as if it's insurance, because we have to call it something. So it goes under as if it's insurance, and also so we can track it. Do you have offices, and does Kleer allow that customability that I can have multiple programs, and does it integrate right in with the practice management software?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, yes, you can offer multiple care plans and you can fully customize it to whatever you'd like. We actually, like, here's an example. We have one practice in Southern California, just off the top of my head, who saw that there was a gap in their hygiene schedule between 1 and 3 p.m. So what they actually did was they offered an elderly plan because they knew that those patients typically have the flexibility of time on their side. So if an elderly patient signed up for their elderly plan, they could only come in between that 1 and 3 slot. So they saw that a lot of their senior patients wanted to save $1 and go in at that 1 to 3 spot, and they saw it being it made a huge impact on their membership plan's profitability. They actually they were close to quadrupling the profitability from an uninsured patient to the Kleer membership plan patient because of that care plan that they put in place. So that's just an example of how creative they can get with the types of care plans that they want to offer. And then on the other side of the spectrum, yes. So your second question, you can create a family offer. Now on our platform, it's not a separate care plan, but what you would do is if you did want to offer an additional discount for other family members, we see practices will offer somewhere usually between I would say it's on average a 5% discount for other family members, but you do see some other practices being a bit more generous and offering like 10% discount for additional family members. So that first member that signs up would pay the full fee, and then any other family members related to that account would save 5 or 10%, whatever the practice wants to roll out.
I see. So if a family of 5, is rolling in the door without insurance, you can offer them the plan, and then there's a fee for the first, the parent, and then each additional member, there's just an added on fee on top of that, or how does that work?
So I would just say, so if someone's paying $300 for their membership plan and they have a spouse that they would like to join as well, that spouse would, instead of paying $300, they would get 5% off that $300 payment. So that's how that kind of works out from a logistics standpoint.
Okay, but this is, totally up to the dentist.
Some practices don't offer an additional family discount. It's completely up to them, and that's the beauty of being able to automate everything and just roll it out easily on this platform during our onboarding process.
By the way, that elderly plan, if that was in Boca Raton where my parents live, they would call that the early bird special, from 1 to 3 p.m. Now, do some offices add like a Perio program where there's patients that are in the scaling and route planning maintenance program, so they add that in as well as like a separate plan?
Yes, they do. So there is a full separate Perio plan. Not all practices offer it. It's just if they have that specialty within their practice. And we have plenty of Perio specialty practices that only offer periodontal plans as well. And it's funny, we always hear practices ask, what happens if a patient doesn't know that they're a Perio patient? They sign up for the wrong plan, and then we got to convert them onto. They think it's a really complicated process, but I guess the convenience of our platform is that if a patient signs up for the wrong plan, your front office team just takes a couple clicks of the mouse and it easily converts that patient over. We handle at least the automated communication to that patient, and then we update the payment amount as well. So typically Perio plans are a bit more expensive than the average adult plan, just because depending on who the dentist is, that patient will be coming in either 3 or 4 times for that year. So we really look to make sure that we're rolling it out pretty seamlessly.
And does this hook up with most practice management software platforms?
So it does not. We're actually a separate workflow. We have been looking into integration, and we're hoping that it will be live soon. But at the moment, it is a separate workflow. But that's where our customer success team really comes into play, because they help these practices. They help articulate the best ways to have that workflow between Kleer and, say, their Dentrix, Open Dental, or EagleSoft. So some practices, it takes a bit longer for them to really understand how to enter into their practice management software. But like I said, during the onboarding process, and even during just, I guess, the nurturing process of when they are a customer, we also have a customer growth team that helps share all those best practices as well.
Do typically dental offices, they'll put the patient in, like we have Dentrix, and we'll put our plan is called the Acton Dental Membership Plan. So we have that as like an option to enter the patient into, that's their insurance. So that's how we track, and we know that the patient has the membership plan. Or is that usually how people do it, or do they have like a pop-up that reminds the staff that this patient is a member of the plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. We typically do see that the most effective process that our customer success team recommends is exactly what you said. Tell the front office team that it's similar to adding a new insurance plan, because that's just the mindset they're in, and it's what the front office team is typically used to. So that's typically what we tell them to roll out.
So, I love having a membership plan. I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's just one less barrier. Patients that don't have insurance, or they lost insurance, it becomes this mental barrier to them where they feel like they can't do treatment because they don't have insurance. Oh, I can't do it, I lost my insurance. Of course you can do it. You just, you have to pay more out of pocket because you lost your benefits. So having something to offer them, like a membership plan, is such a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. It makes them feel like they're getting a discount, which they are. So it gives them that kind of enjoyment that they feel like they're getting a break on treatment. They're not paying your full fee. It creates some loyalty to the office, especially long-term patients that you've had for years, and you've built up a rapport with them, and then turns out they retired, or they lost their job, or whatever reason they lost insurance. You have something to offer them, so they stay and they don't leave. Mm-hmm. So I'm a huge fan of it, and I think it would be such a no-brainer for a scratch new office opening up to try to get to market it and get new patients in the door. So and there's just so many. I mean, what's the population right now of patients out there that don't have dental insurance?
We're seeing that actually through COVID, it jumped from around 100 million to 120 million that do not have insurance. And honestly, to your point, like it's a great call by you. I mean, we have a lot of dentists that we talk to just in the prospecting process, where they'll ask us, why do I want to cannibalize my cash paying patients? Or why would I even want to offer a membership plan to my patients? And I get it. I mean, hypothetically, on paper, your uninsured patients, your cash paying patients, fee for service, however you want to refer them, they are supposed to be your most profitable. They pay 100% out of pocket. But through years and years of research, and it's really built the foundation of our company, we found that uninsured patients ultimately behave differently than insured patients. I mean, yes, on paper, like we said, they look the most profitable, but it's just not the reality. We actually see that the vast majority of these uninsured patients visit the dentist less frequently. So we actually saw in 2015, only 17% of uninsured patients actually visited the dentist within that year. And what we see on top of that is that the average visitation cycle, I guess you can say, is once every 2 years for an uninsured patient. So that's just the average. Some patients, some uninsured patients come in 2 times a year. They're great. They're compliant. And then some uninsured patients, you see them once every 5 years. But on top of that, not only do uninsured patients visit less, but they actually accept a lot less treatment compared to their insured counterparts. It's actually 50 to 75% less treatment. And what's really funny was, all right, that's the behavior. What's causing this? Why are they behaving this way? And it's really interesting. It all stems from the dental insurance companies. And I know, like, they're always demonized and whatnot, the dental insurance companies. And I kind of think that they're a necessary evil to an extent. But it's just a reality that there's been a lot of confusion and complexities created from these insurance companies. The patients, ultimately, uninsured and insured, the average patient overvalues the efficacy of these dental plans. They think it's very similar to medical insurance in terms of the actual coverage that they might get. But we all know that dental benefits as they are today are essentially just a glorified coupon for the end user, which is the patient. So it's funny. I mean, these dental insurance set these plans, patients overvalue them. And then where it really trickles down to is that uninsured patients, since they don't have these dental benefits, they think that they're an outlier. They think that almost everyone in the United States has a dental benefit. And then outside of that, since there's a lack of pricing transparency within dentistry, these uninsured patients think that without a dental benefit to cover their treatment, that it's going to be way too expensive to visit the dentist consistently. So if they're not having any pain, any toothaches or any pain, they're going to see no reason to go visit the dentist. And to your point, Eric, I mean, COVID-19 has just caused this dental, or the uninsured population within dentistry to just balloon by 20 million more folks. So the last thing these dentists want are these patients looking for individual insurance plans. But you really just want to make sure a membership plan is something that you've created yourself and that you're looking to retain them. And I don't want to get too wordy here, but I just want to share like the results. So we just talked about how the patients are coming in less frequently, they're accepting less treatment. But what's amazing is, based upon our research and data that we've conducted from our customers, we're seeing that that membership plan patients, not only are you improving the patient loyalty and you're getting them to commit to their hygiene care for at least that year only to your practice, but on top of that, we're actually seeing that you're maximizing production out of that patient. What's really great is these uninsured patients, yes, now they're receiving more comprehensive care, and it's a dental benefit that you created with no middleman. But on top of that, we're seeing that at least our customers, the Kleer membership plans, their patients are 2.1 times more profitable than other uninsured patients. So if you're just kind of taking your clinician hat off for a second and you kind of just want to think about it from a business aspect, why wouldn't you want to double profitability with a patient in your practice? And like, not only that, it's not like you're scamming them. They're getting a dental benefit that they want, and they're going to be extremely appreciative that you're giving them that membership plan. And when it's all tied together, you're improving the relationship and the patient loyalty. The patient's going to be happy. You're improving the revenue that you're bringing in, and then all together, I guess you can say the cherry on top is COVID-19 kind of showed that there is a cash flow vulnerability amongst dentists, because everything is a one-time purchase. They come in, they get a root canal, they leave. You're hoping that patient comes in, but the membership plans, at least with the subscription fee that you're collecting, you're bringing a recurring, more predictable revenue model to your practice through that monthly or annual subscription fee. And that's something a lot of these practices, and I'm sure your own practice saw this, Eric, that when their doors were closed, you were probably seeing some cash flow coming through, even though the pandemic caused your practice's doors to be closed. So it's really interesting. And this is ultimately what we call like the membership club effect. And like Eric, what like membership plans or loyalty programs do you have? Because it seems like people have like a huge list of what it is these days.
I have membership plans up the wazoo. I've got, Amazon, Netflix, I mean, Disney Plus. I mean, you name it, we have it. I mean, I have little kids, so I got to do whatever it takes to keep them entertained. So I'm fine with, keeping my credit card on, a monthly fee for these. And I used to have it, before COVID with like my place I went to get massages or the gym. These were all memberships that would ding my credit card every month. This is a very similar thing, right? It's like you're part of a club, and like kind of like BJ's, you're part of a club, and you're getting a discount. Typically it's like a monthly fee that goes right to your credit card.
Yeah, exactly. And those companies that you mentioned, like the BJ's, Costco's, Amazon Prime, whatever it is, I mean, they're not crazy. They definitely understand, and they're extremely methodical with their approach. They know that there's a reason that they're offering these VIPs or these loyalty programs or membership programs, whatever it is. They understand that loyal customers, or in our case, loyal patients, end up spending twice as more as those that aren't a part of that particular club. And that is the biggest takeaway there. I mean, when I mentioned that what we're seeing is a 2.1 times increase, it's pretty crazy that that's almost spot on with the basically doubling profits that you just see with membership plans across any industry, and that it is applicable to dental. So that's a really big takeaway for a lot of practices. It's like, I get it. It might be tough. That patient might have paid me 100% out of pocket, but like, all right, that's one out of, it's not a large portion of your uninsured patients. You're going to see the benefits overall when it comes to the big picture. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we kind of struggled initially with the membership plan because we have maybe 20% of our patient population was fee for service. Mm-hmm. So now we're just all of a sudden giving these people 15% off, plus the discounts for their cleanings. So, my partner was worried that we're just losing revenue because we're getting these patients, this discount where they're already cash paying patients. But, you got to think about, long term, they're going to come in more regularly, more chance they're going to move forward with treatment. So you're going to make it up there. More of a chance that, they're not going to leave the office. They're going to be loyal, even if they move. They're going to tell their friends and family. And they're more likely to spend more. It's just great because they're going to come in instead of when something breaks. Like I have so many patients that come in, they broke a molar and like, oh, when was your last cleaning? Oh, 6 years ago when I lost my insurance. So, to keep the patients in that constant coming in twice a year and keeping an eye on them, you start to pick up treatment, whereas if you didn't offer this, you may have lost them. They got lost in the shuffle. But with membership plan, they're more likely to come in. And I hear that they're less likely to break appointments or cancel appointments when they're part of the membership. They're more likely to show up for their appointments as opposed to fee for service or insurance, PPO.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I honestly, I think it's because they have skin in the game, because mm-hmm. when you're looking at these dental insurance plans, most of them are employer sponsored. So it's usually just like deducted off their paycheck, and it's kind of just behind the scenes. Like no one's actually thinking about it. But with the membership plan, they're typically putting this on their debit card or credit card, and they see all right, I paid for the year, I'm being pinged monthly for this. So I should really just take advantage of it. And we talk to some practices that like that are prospects, and they'll say, well, don't you want them to not come in? Like, you're getting this subscription fee, you're going to be profiting 100% if they don't come in. I mean, I guess, but if you're looking at the big picture here, is that the case acceptance increases tremendously when they join a membership plan. So we see that 75% of treatment acceptance comes from a hygiene visit. So what you're looking to do is get these uninsured patients to commit to their hygiene, come in, and then that's where the case acceptance comes into play. And that's really where the bigger revenue flow is from. It's not from a subscription fee for hygiene care. It's for the bigger procedures that they're going to need because you were able to diagnose something correctly and build that relationship with that patient. And also to just build on that too, you hit the nail on the head, to be honest. You see that, especially with baby boomers, you see that they've had a dental benefit their whole lives, and it's just a mindset. It's something they're used to. And as soon as they retire, or maybe unfortunately through COVID, there was some budget cuts and they lost their dental benefit, whatever it is, they're used to having a benefit, and they might start looking for one as soon as they lose it. So you'd rather them join, your own in-house membership plan, or as opposed to joining, say, like a Delta retiree plan. Like, that would be a nightmare for most practices. So that's one population to really attract with your membership plan. There's tons of others too. I mean, it's usually the dentists who are a bit more business oriented and progressive and forward thinking. They're usually the early adopters with a newer concept like a membership plan. But I mean, you can offer it if you have a large uninsured patient population. The baby boomers, like you mentioned, if there are a lot more retirees in your area, we see plenty of practices that are fee for service that just want a more affordable option for some of their patients. And then a more interesting trend actually is that's been coming through our sales pipeline, is a lot of practices are saying that they want a membership plan in place because they're looking to move away from PPO dependency. So I'm thinking what they want is they're planning on dropping a PPO plan or two in the near future, and they want to use the membership plan as a way to hopefully retain some of those patients in that particular network that they're looking to drop. That's what I'm thinking, and I'm not sure what your thought is about that.
That's a good point. And, even if your patient has insurance, maybe they don't, in 6 months or a year. So, we have brochures all over the place, and it's on our website. So that's actually a really good point. If even for patients that are in network, which we have Delta and Blue Cross in network, and all the other plans are out of network. But we could actually say to every patient, hey, do you know any friends or family or colleagues that don't have insurance? We have this great, membership plan option. But that plants a seed in their head. So let's say 6 months, a year, or 2 years, or 5 years, they lose their insurance. Then you've already planted that seed that there is an alternate option, and they can continue on getting their treatment. Because they may feel, like you said, once they lose insurance, they've always had it, but once they lose it, they may feel like they can't continue on with dentistry. But it's a good idea to plant that seed early, even if they have insurance. Because yes, I think that a lot of dentists, because of during COVID, they started thinking about dropping PPOs. We dropped a few. I think we dropped about 3 or 4, and we just went out of network. So we had a capacity issue, and we downsized a bit. And I think a lot of dentists were thinking about that. And then you mentioned that 20 million Americans lost their insurance. So this is such a great option. Also, when patients lose insurance or they retire, I have all the time, they'll say to me, oh, I'm going to look into getting my own private insurance. And they don't realize that they think that that's going to be as good as what they had. It's not. There's all these, hoops they have to jump through and waiting periods and clauses. And then that takes time for them to look into it, or to get help from our front desk to look into it. So now I just tell patients, just do our membership plans. Way better. It's 15% off. All your cleanings and x-rays and exams are included for $419. Boom, it's done. There's no extra phone calls to insurance companies, or looking into the plan, or waiting to find out if the patient ended up going through with the plan. It's so quick and easy, and you're not dealing with all that red tape.
Yeah.
So I think it's such a great answer to have an offer when a patient says, I lost my insurance, I'm going to look into getting my own. Because that's like, I mean, those, you probably know better than I, those plans are not very good, those private plans.
I mean, it really isn't. And if you're all right, so here's just a reality. Like if you go and look at like Delta Dental's website, just for example, they have like retirees. So they're looking to attract retirees for individual plans. But I mean, here's a reality. Yeah, like there is a growing number of uninsured patients, but if we're looking just at traditionally, what's their behavior like? Only, I mean, it's smaller than 7% of the general public goes and gets an individual dental benefit plan. And the reason is we see that 93% of all dental benefit plans are employer sponsored. So the employers really dominate the market when it comes to what's your avenue for getting that dental benefit. And it all stems from the fact that these Americans really value their dental health, and employers get that. They're expecting, employers understand that their employees are expecting a dental benefit, because we've seen that the dental benefit is the third most asked for perk besides medical and 401k. So due to that demand from employees, employers know that they have to start going out there and looking for something. So that is really the origins of where these dental benefits are coming from. It's employer sponsored. And what's really interesting is like these insurance companies, they know that. I mean, they completely understand that that's where it's coming from. So that's why a lot of these dental insurance companies are pretty large, fairly stagnant. There's not a lot of innovation, and they're not. I mean, it's just a reality. They're not the most efficient when it comes from cost, expense, and expenses as well. And what I mean by that is, so we saw in this year, we're going to see that employers are going to spend $90 billion on dental insurance premiums, but out of that 90 billion, only 60% is going to their employees' patient care. So, like, rhetorical question, where's that 40% going? It's probably profits for the insurance companies or administration fees, whatever it is. But we're seeing that ultimately 5 of these huge dental insurance conglomerates are dominating the market. They know employers is the way to go, and they know that there's nothing else really out there that's going to say interrupt the market. I think that's a pretty extreme term, but there's no really true alternative out there. So a lot of these data points kind of stem from a new product that we're actually releasing. We're releasing something called what we're calling employee care in May or June of 2021. And basically what we're doing there is it's a very similar concept to what we're currently doing, but instead of the dentist offering it to just an individual uninsured patient, what we're ultimately looking to do here is, once again, cut out the middleman, but connect small local businesses to a particular dental office. And this is where it will really satisfy and satiate that new patient hunger that so many practices have. And on the other end of the spectrum, it's really going to give employers and employees a better dental benefit. I mean, they understand that something is off about the whole market. I mean, for small employers, a vast majority of them don't offer a benefit to their employees because there's a lot of red tape. Like you said, there's employee participation requirements. So if I'm a small business owner, if I want to get in network with a particular dental insurance plan and offer the benefit to my employees, they're telling me I have to go out there and get 75% of my employees on the plan. So now I have to go out there and recruit them. So that's one deterrent, participation requirements. Another one's coverage limitations, manual burdens, like paperwork. And then on top of that, there's also contribution levels for limits as well. So an employer, it's pretty interesting. We see that employers typically have to pay on average over $500 per employee for their dental benefit for the year. So we're essentially just looking to get rid of all that red tape. So no more participation requirements, no more contribution minimums. We're really going to make sure that it's a better experience for the employer. And then for the employees, I mean, they're extremely frustrated, even though they value dental benefits. They're annoyed with how complicated everything is and how convoluted it all is as well. You have these agreements, you have all these pre-approvals, waiting periods, maximums, whatever it is. And I think everyone's just pretty fed up, but they're just accepting what the norm is. So that's what we're that's what we're hopefully looking to do with this employee care as we roll it out. And I think what's also really interesting is that when you just look at COVID-19, it really acted like as a catalyst for a desire to change. That desire has always been there. Dentists have been unhappy with the way the dental insurance market is, but a lot of them have just kind of stayed in place. You know, even though they're upset, they kind of just accept it. They're like, all right, it is what it is. This stinks, but it's the only thing to do. So some proof of like actual desire is that our busiest sales months were between April and July of 2020, which I think is actually very encouraging because it shows that a lot of dentists were out there taking a step back when their doors were closed and they were thinking, all right, what can I do to pivot? What can I do to adapt to what's going on in the market? And they understood that a membership plan was going to be something popular, especially with so many people losing their benefits. So that's just kind of proof that the desire is there, and not just the desire, but that the ability to act is also there for these dentists. And I think they just want a more efficient process. And if we're just one more time looking at other industries outside of dentistry, like you think about all these successful companies that are looking to eliminate waste in certain industries. So earlier you mentioned Netflix, like Netflix and Hulu, or maybe like a Prime Video. They're looking to, I mean, Netflix essentially disrupted Blockbuster and now they're bankrupt and basically no longer a company. So they got rid of that inefficiency of having to drive to a Blockbuster, get the video, come back, all that good stuff. And then they're also creating a more financially efficient process as opposed to cable providers like Verizon, Fios, or whatever it is that charge an arm and a leg. So like those are some examples. Another one is Warby Parker. I mean, they're like the new affordable eyeglass brand, because a lot of people don't know that almost all sunglasses or eyeglasses companies are owned by this large Italian like monopoly. They own literally all of it, and that's why prices are so high. So Warby Parker saw that there was an opportunity because it was extremely inefficient from a pricing standpoint. So they created their own product that was much more efficient. So I think the list can go on and on. You see it with Peloton versus traditional gyms, all these different case studies. So like my basic question is, why not dental? You know, why can't we look to make a more efficient process for the dentist, for the patient, for the employer, for the employee. I mean, I think it's just something to kind of think about and digest, because that's the practices that are implementing these membership plans are showing that they want change. And I think that's why also so many practices are looking to drop certain PPO plans, because they're a bit fed up, and they just want some type of positive change and more efficient processes within their dental practice.
Yeah, it sounds like, a lot of dentists, like you said, they were fed up. They finally, maybe they'd been thinking about it for a while, but during COVID, they finally pulled the trigger and, dropped some of the PPOs. By the way, I heard that there's a documentary coming out about the last Blockbuster, which I think was like way up in Oregon somewhere, and it's going to be on Netflix. So talk about it like a slap in the face, like
Netflix.
Netflix like buried them, and now they're making a documentary about their demise. Now, before we wrap things up, how does this work state to state? Are there different laws for each state on how we can set this up? Do you help us out with that?
So yes, there are laws that pertain. So for instance, I know Washington State is in particular the strictest state when it comes to rolling out your membership plan. The thing is, yes, we can't say that we're 100% compliant, because laws are constantly changing, and it's also just misguided if we say we're 100% compliant with that. But yes, we have worked closely with a few different lawyers to make sure that we are on top of regulations. So we will certainly make sure that that when it comes to HIPAA compliance, state, federal laws, whatever it is, it might be like anti-kickback or Stark law, whatever it is. Yes, we've taken that into account, and a dental practice can certainly have faith in us that we've checked that box for them.
Yeah, that's nice, because when I was looking into my membership plan, I spent a lot of time looking at laws and rules, and if you just don't want to deal with that and have the time, it's better just to hire a professional company like Kleer. So Brad, thanks so much for joining us. Again, Brad James, Director of Partner Development for Kleer. You can go to Deals for Dentists and find their promo offer of 10% off membership subscription fees for the Kleer membership plan. Brad, do you have any last words of advice for entrepreneurs out there, especially dentists? Any last nuggets or words of advice?
I mean, what I would just say is just always make sure when you have an idea, obviously you want to go out there and do it, but just be extremely methodical and analytical when it comes to making that decision. You definitely want to make sure it's calculated. And what I'm kind of thinking that's top of mind is like practices that want to drop their PPOs. Yes, of course, that'd be great to have some more independence, but you also want to make sure that you're not just blindly doing it and that it's misguided. Yeah. Definitely make sure, do your homework, look over the contracts, do the math, just make sure you're extremely calculated. And I think it applies to everything too. If you have a great idea, be excited about it. It should really be your motor and your engine to want to be better and do better every day, but also make sure that it's something that you've done a lot of research, that you've conducted, the data, and that you have a plan set in place. I think that's something that people can easily overlook just even with their day-to-day tasks. So that's something that I would certainly recommend.
Well, that's good stuff. That's great advice. Hey, Brad, let's be in touch. Thanks for a great interview.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time, Eric. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay. Take care.
You too.